boys and girls. It's Mrs. L, and today I'm really excited because I'm going to read a book to you a different way. And instead of reading it where I share it on the screen, I'm going to read a real book to you today, and it's one of my favorites. It's called Strega Nona. Try to turn that the right way and see where I have to be with this. And it's written by Tommy DePaula. It's one of my favorite books of all times. I want you to listen really carefully because at the end, I'm going to ask you some questions. And I'm also going to tell you now, and I'll try to remember to remind you at the end, if you go to my file cabinet on my website, you will see under second grade reading comprehension, there will be some activities for you to read and to do that will be similar to the questions that I ask you here. So you can read some stories and you can get some questions about them that will help with your reading comprehension. This is called Strega Nona, and it's an old tale retold and illustrated by Tommy DePaula. This means this tale's been around for a long time. It's a tale that comes from Italy. So here we go. In a town in Calabria a long time ago, there lived an old lady everyone called Strega Nona, which meant Grandma Witch. Although all the people in town talked about her in whispers, they all went to see her if they had troubles. Even the priests and the sisters of the convent went because Strega Nona did have a magic touch. She could cure a headache with oil and water and a hairpin. She made special potions for the girls who wanted husbands, and she was very good at getting rid of warts. But Strega Nona was getting old, and she needed someone to help her keep her little house and garden. So she put up a sign in the town square. And Big Anthony, who didn't pay attention, went to see her. "Anthony," said Strega Nona, "you must have sweeped the house and washed the dishes. You must have weeded the garden and picked the vegetables. You must have feeded the goat and milked her. And you must have fetched the water. For this, I will give you 3 coins and a place to sleep and food to eat." "Oh, grazie," said Big Anthony. "The one thing you must never do," said Strega Nona, "is to touch the pasta pot. It is very valuable, and I don't let anyone touch it." "Oh, see, yes, said Big Anthony. And so the days went by, and Big Anthony did his work, and Strega Nona met with the people who came to see her for headaches and husbands and warts. Big Anthony had a nice bed to sleep in next to the goat shed, and he had food to eat. One evening, when Big Anthony was milking the goat, he heard Strega Nona singing. Peeking in the window, he saw Strega Nona standing over the pasta pot. I'll try to get this where you can see it. There we go. Oh boy, he's peeking. We're going to have to find out what kind of trouble he gets into. That tells me I better pay careful attention. And she sang, "Bubble, bubble, pasta pot, boil me some pasta, nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. Boil enough pasta to fill me up." And the pasta bubbled and boiled and was suddenly filled with steaming hot pasta. And then Strega Nona sang, "Enough, enough, pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down my pot of clay until I'm hungry another day." "How wonderful," said Big Anthony. "That's a magic pot for sure." And Strega Nona called Big Anthony in for supper. But too bad for Big Anthony, because he didn't see Strega Nona blow 3 kisses to the magic pasta pot. 3 kisses she blew. But remember, Big Anthony doesn't pay attention. And he doesn't pay attention, so he wasn't watching carefully. And this is what happened. The next day, when Big Anthony went to the town square to fetch the water, he told everyone about the pasta pot. And naturally, everyone laughed at him because it sounded so silly. A pot that cooked all by itself? You'd better go and confess to the priest, Big Anthony. They said, "Such a lie. and Big Anthony was angry, and that wasn't a very good thing to be. "I'll show them," he said to himself. "Someday I will get the pasta pot and make it cook, and then they'll be sorry." That day came sooner than even Big Anthony would have thought, because 2 days later Strega Nona said to Big Anthony, "Anthony, I must go over to the mountain, to the next town to see my friend Strega Amelia. Sweep of the house and weed of the garden, feed of the goat and milk her, and for your lunch there is some bread and cheese in the cupboard. And remember, don't touch the pasta pot." "Oh, yes, yes," Strega Nona said Big Anthony, but inside he was thinking, "My chance has come." I'm a little worried about Big Anthony. Let's see what happens. As soon as Strega Nona was out of sight, Big Anthony went inside, pulled the pasta pot off the shelf, and put it on the floor. "Now, let's see if I can remember the words," said Big Anthony, and Big Anthony sang, "Bubble, bubble, pasta pot, boil me some pasta nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup, boil enough pasta to fill me up." And sure enough, the pot bubbled and boiled and began to fill up with pasta. "Aha," said Big Anthony. And he ran to the town square, jumped up on the fountain, and shouted, "Everyone, get forks and plates and platters and bowls, pasta for all at Strega Nona's house. Big Anthony has made the magic pasta pot work." Of course, everyone laughed and ran home and to get forks and plates and platters and bowls. And sure enough, when they got to Strega Nona's, the pasta pot was so full it was beginning to overflow. Big Anthony was a hero. He scooped out pasta and filled the plates and platters and bowls. There was more than enough for all the townspeople, including the priest and the sisters from the convent. And some people came back for 2 and 3 helpings. But the pot was never empty. It's a magic pasta pot. When all had their fill, Big Anthony sang, "Enough, enough, pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down, my pot of clay, until I'm hungry another day." But alas, he did not blow the 3 kisses. He didn't pay attention, remember? It's so important to pay attention. He went outside, and to the applause of the crowd, Big Anthony took a bow. He was so busy listening to compliments from everyone that he didn't notice the pasta pot was still bubbling and boiling, until a sister from the convent said, "Oh, Big Anthony, look!" And pasta was pouring out of the pot all over the floor of Strega Nona's house and was coming out the door. Big Anthony rushed in and shouted the magic words again, but the pot kept bubbling. Because remember, he wasn't remembering to blow the 3 kisses. He took the pot off the floor, but pasta kept on pouring from it. Big Anthony grabbed a cover and put it on the pot and sat on it. But the pasta raised the cover, and Big Anthony as well, and spilled on the floor of Strega Nona's house. Oh, jeez. There we go. "Stop!" yelled Big Anthony. But the pasta did not stop, and if someone hadn't grabbed poor Big Anthony, the pasta would have covered him up. The pasta had all but filled the little house. Out of the windows and through the doors came the pasta, and the pot kept right on bubbling. The townspeople began to worry. "Do something, Big Anthony," they shouted. Big Anthony sang the magic song again, but without the 3 kisses, it did no good. By this time, the pasta was on its way down the road, and all the people were running to keep ahead of it. So the pasta is going out of control. There you go. "We must protect our town from the pasta," shouted the mayor. "Get mattresses, tables, doors, anything to make a barricade." But even that didn't work. The pot kept bubbling and the pasta kept coming. "We are lost," said the people, and the priest and the sisters of the convent began praying. "The pasta will cover our town," they cried, and it certainly would have had Strega Nona not come down the road home from her visit. She didn't have to look twice to know what had happened. She sang the magic song and blew the 3 kisses with a sputter, and with a sputter the pot stopped boiling and the pasta came to a halt. "Oh, Grazi, thank you, Strega Nona," the people cried. But then they turned on poor Big Anthony. "String him up," the men of the town shouted. Big Anthony did not pay attention. "Now wait," said Strega Nona. "The punishment must fit the crime." And she took a fork from a lady standing nearby and held it out to Big Anthony. "All right, Anthony, you wanted a pasta from my magic pasta pot," Strega Nona said, "and I want to sleep in my little bed tonight. So, start eating." Look at all that pasta Big Anthony has to eat. Oh boy. And he did. Poor Big Anthony. He did not pay attention. Look at his belly. Oh my goodness. Now, what a great story. Tommy DePaula is one of my favorites. I just want to put a few questions out there for you to think about. I want you to think about, who are the characters? Who are the really important characters in this story? I can think of this one right here. Her name is, and then we have this one, somebody right here, and there were a few others. And what were the magic words? That's a little tricky. You might have to go back and watch the video again. Where did the story take place? I want you to think about that. That's called the setting. Where did the story take place? So you might have to go back and listen to the story again. It tells you in the very beginning. And when did the problem happen? When did the problem happen? Think about that. There was a time when somebody did something and somebody did something else, and that is when the problem happened. So think about that. And why did the pasta boil over? Why exactly did that happen? And how did the problem get solved? So I also wonder, is there a lesson here that we can learn? Because sometimes stories tell us lessons and something we can think about and learn. So think if there's a lesson. So once you think about all these things, you can write them down. You can also go into my website under my filing cabinet, and there will be a file that says second grade comprehension, second grade reading comprehension, and look up some more things to read and ask questions about. And there'll also be some little papers in there that'll say who, what, where, when, why, and you can put your answers to the Strega Nona book on that. But every time you read, it's good to ask yourself those questions. Who are the characters? What happened in the story? Where did the story take place? When did the problem occur? Why did this happen or that happen? How did the problem get solved? And maybe, is there a lesson for me to learn? Those are all good story questions to ask when you read a story. All right, I'm glad that you read Strega Nona with me today. One of my favorites, and have a good day. Bye-bye.